everyone. Let me move this. My name is Lindsey Pierce, and I am an environmental coordinator with Tlingit Haida in Juneau. This presentation was, or a version of this was done in Corvallis, Oregon, a couple months ago with Ron Heinz. He was the senior PI for this project, but he recently retired. So I have kind of mixed up the presentation a little bit, and hopefully you guys like it. There we go. So first off, to start us off, I'm going to give you guys a little introduction into Southeast Alaska and the Kootenai project. Here is, it's actually a transboundary map, which kind of leads into some of the other work that we do at Tlingit and Haida, but it was a good way and hopefully not as blurry as the last picture I had. That's why I had to change it. But this kind of gives you just a little geography look at Southeast Alaska. Here's Juneau, where I am. Um, and here is Haines, Yakutat, Sitka, Huna, Ketchikan down here at the bottom, and this is Prince of Wales. We are Central Council Tlingit and Haida Indian Tribes of Alaska is a regional tribe, and we work with the tribes in all of these locations. Southeast Alaska is home to the Tlingit, the Haida, and the Tsimshian people. There are 19,000 miles of deglaciated coastline in Southeast Alaska alone. We range from sea level to 5,390 feet, and Southeast Alaska is about equal to the size of Florida. Most roads are only, or most communities are only accessible by boat or air and don't have any roads in or out. And Southeast Alaska has been continuously inhabited for 10,000 years. I really liked Ron's picture of the marmot here. See if this will play. Oh, then it flipped sideways. Sorry. Can I fix that? I don't know how to fix that. This was just to kind of give you like a bird's eye view. This is a flight from Juneau to Huna, just so you can see like a in-person view of what it's really like. This is our team that went to Yakutat. We, fortunately, I think about 4 of those people are no longer with the project, but that trip was our first trip to Yakutat to discuss the concerns that Yakutat has of landslides and geohazards in their community. And I also have some fun facts to read so you can finish the video. Fun facts for the state of Alaska. We are a part of the United States, as some may not believe. We are not a separate country. We are twice the size of Texas, and there are no Indian reservations in Southeast Alaska. In Juneau, we get about 222 rainy days per year. From one end of town to the other end of town, there's almost a 40-inch difference in participation rates. Juneau is also no road in or out. We are only accessible by boat or plane. Our altitude is at sea level. And we do get sun in the winter. It's not dark all the time, but we only get about 4 hours during the solstice. Oh, and natives do not live in igloos or longhouses here in Juneau. These are just some of the questions we get during the tourist season, so I thought I'd throw them in. Here is some pictures of Skagway and Klukwam. Skagway is on the right. You'll see the brown stripe in the middle is where they had their rock fall that hit their cruise ship. Oh, sorry. Their cruise ship dock. And then on the left is Klukwam. And that is one of the oldest villages in the state, I believe, and they live on an alluvial fan village. Here are some pictures of AYS on the top left. They joined us in Kluwak for a community visit to talk about the landslide concerns in Kluwak. And on the right is when we visited the senior center in Kluwak, and that was probably the best part of the whole trip, getting to talk to Bill and Tina, these two here on the left. They had so much knowledge and they were just a hoot to chat with. And in the middle, you'll see one of the slides in outside of Kluwak. And we were lucky enough, not only last year, but this recent trip that Luca and I took to POW to get sunshine. And so this is last year, our group just taking it all in and laying on the beach by the whale house, taking a break. So what kind of led us into the Kute project was the creation of the Tlingit Haida Climate Change Adaptation Plan, which was done by Kenneth Weitzel. And here is a link. I think I can click on it. It would take us, oh, maybe not. It would take us to the Climate Change Adaptation Plan. It is a public document, it's a living document also. So we update it when we can. It talks about temperature changes, fossil fuel fingerprints, precipitation changes, isostatic adjustments, ocean acidification, forest habitat changes, invasive species, human health, and we're continuing to adjust it all the time. So the Kute project focuses on geohazards and landslides, primarily in Southeast Alaska. So I just thought I'd throw the brief definitions in there of a geohazard and a landslide. And this landslide picture is the Black Bear Ridge outside of Kluwak on Prince of Wales Island. This is a unique slide. There were actually two more landslides to the right and they all happened at the same time. And just some pictures to give you guys an idea of why this work is so important. This is 1936 in Juneau. We had a landslide where 15 people were unfortunately killed. This is Skagway in 1993, where one life was taken. Sitka 2015, where 3 lives were taken. Haines 2020, right around Christmas time, 3 lives were taken. And this actually is not in the presentation, but the sense of community around this landslide was amazing. Haines had to turn away assistance because everybody in Southeast Alaska was trying to send them supplies, Christmas presents, wrapping paper, everything, because it was just weeks before Christmas. Here is a more recent one in Wrangell, where unfortunately 6 lives were taken. Ketchikan, 1 life was taken. You can see the landslide leads right into all the infrastructure right there in town. So Kute means, and we actually just changed this. We normally would say it is the Tlingit word for weather, but what one of our partners discovered while we were in Prince of Wales this last week is they opened the Haida dictionary, and there was about 3 pages of definitions and words for rain alone. So we changed this to Kute is one of the Tlingit words for weather because there are many different ways to describe weather in the Tlingit language, Haida language, and Tsimshian language. Here is a very blurry picture. I apologize. I've tried many ways to try and make this clearer, but it's just to give you an idea of how many projects are going on outside of the Kute project that reside around landslides in Southeast Alaska or landslide work in general. We have an amazing network of folks that participate in the project. and have all their ongoing projects outside of the Kute project, and it's all related. It's all amazing. We have a really great crew. This is Luca and Ella, who is unfortunately going off to grad school, but she's still ours for another week. So, and that is a picture of the Sitka Sound Science Center in Sitka. They are the folks that started the Kute project and roped Tlingit and Haida in, and they are the awardees of the NSF grant that funds this project. It's a 5-year grant and ends in 2027. Southeast Alaska is known for its steep topography, and the rain really helps or not helps set the stage for landslides. There are many different kinds of landslides. The main 4 are rockfall, debris flow, earth creep, and block slide. And a landslide, as devastating as it is, also provides these things when a landslide happens. It creates a carbon sink. It's a gravel source for streams. And I'm not sure what Ron meant by good for habitat, but I'm sure he was right. As you saw in the pictures before, landslides do impact the infrastructure of towns. Not only do they take lives, but it can disrupt the lives of many others. Here is Skagway. That's the rockfall I was telling you about. It's just a different point of view. And the one in Juneau is a very, very minor landslide that did not impact anyone. I mean, it impacted the homeowners, but it did not take any lives, is what I have to say. And with the Kute project, we focus around 2 important issues: sustainability and this is a regional problem, not just a community problem. So we are working with 6 different communities. That's what we started off with. Now we have a lot more involved, but still have the 6 main communities signed on to the project. Kasan, Klawak, Craig, Yakutat, Huna, and Skagway. And then another thing that we try and focus on is data sovereignty, tribal sovereignty. We try and keep in mind we are working with all the tribes in the area, and we don't want them to feel like we're coming over to take over, and everybody works together. As I said earlier, Southeast is a rainy region. Precipitation on this graph is measured in feet. And that little graphic is what an atmospheric river looks like. I didn't know what an atmospheric river was until recently, and neither do a lot of other people. One of my project officers for another project thought it was a phrase I had made up. I was like, no, it's an actual thing. The work that we're doing with the Kute and all the partners we have an amazing, what is Deanna's title? Is she a meteorologist, Luca?
Yeah, atmospheric scientist.
Atmospheric scientist. Okay. She's amazing. She has done a lot of work on these atmospheric river models, and I actually got to spend a couple days. Me and Luca got to spend some time with her in POW. She's amazing. So she's really bringing a lot of knowledge. She works with the National Weather Service and NOAA and helps provide these models and data for landslides or weather that may create landslides. One of the things that we try and do in our project is empower the community, not just show them. We want to help them get their own data, so help them do their own research. We provide the forecasting tools, try and help with communication. There's a lot of disconnect between tribal entities, municipalities, and the public. And so we're trying to help piece that together and help communication happen to better prepare the community for when a landslide occurs. We are building a community of practice, essentially. Oh. Sorry, my key got stuck. All right, Jamie.
Hello, good morning. My name's Jimmy Refuerzo. I'm employee of Tlingit Haida Central Council and was added to the Kute project here about 8 months ago. And to shorten it, I am the field technician with the expertise to go out into the field, into the bush to set these weather stations up and program them and get them giving off data in these 6 communities. And so the station we are looking at right now in this picture is a Campbell station. And this Campbell station, uh, as we got pointed out, has a wind speed, direction, snow depth, air and humidity, rain gauge, solar panel for its self-powering cell phone communications and soil moisture. So this is a setup used to be self-sufficient year-round while giving off data for that community. This one right here is located in a remote spot. Part of the weather station location that we choose is in areas that are more remote that don't get that we don't receive data from. And so I don't have so right here oh yeah, sorry. So yeah, that station that we just got done looking at, that station runs around $16,000. So right here is part of part of the process of getting these stations together and built and what that might look like. Right here in the screen, we're on top of White Alice Mountain there in Hoona, and setting up a Campbell station out on top of that mountain right there with this just showing part of the process of what it can take, especially with some of the bigger equipment, needing a helicopter to be brought in because of the remote locations. And as Lindsey explained earlier, each community is only accessible by boat or plane. And so just showing, the stages of, difficulties we adjust to put these weather stations here in Alaska. At the bottom right there is our Hobo Link station, which is the smaller version of a Campbell station, and we have a few of these set up as well in Southeast Alaska. One being here in Juneau that we are installing for the new university site that Tlingit Haida has in talks and projects about later on down the future.
Sorry, did you have anything else, Jimmy?
No, that's fine.
Thanks for explaining the tech a little bit. Kind of gives you guys an insight into what we're trying to get the community set up with to prepare themselves for anything that may happen. And here's just another map to just kind of give you an idea of where these locations that we're working with are throughout Southeast. There we go. So from this work and all this networking and everything that we've all put so much time into, the development of this working group has created SLIPP. it's Southeast Alaska Landslide Information and Preparedness Partnership. And it's really amazing what we have created here. It's roughly 50 different organizations, tribes, municipalities, nonprofits that have come together to all work on the landslide issue. Um, this is these are pictures from our first in-person gathering, and it was amazing. I wish I had better words to describe it, but just seeing all these entities come together to work towards one goal, protecting the communities that we care about, was amazing. And our next one is March 3rd and 4th in Sitka of 2026. Here's some more of the logos of just a handful of those that were able to come. As you can see, like I said, there's municipalities, there's tribes, there's Red Cross, there's National Park Service, USGS, there's federal, it was just so much knowledge and information packed into those 2 days. It was incredible. We meet monthly to continue the work and share our knowledge. We kind of rotate speakers. This upcoming month, at the end of the month, we have Sabrina Grubitz from our Tribal Emergency Operations Center, public safety team here at Tlingit Haida. She is going to share a little bit about the response and experience that she has had in landslides and being on the ground, she was part of the first tribal declaration in the state of Alaska, which is pretty amazing. So on the 31st will be our next meeting, and it should be pretty good. There are 3, I guess, focuses in the community of practice: leadership, the observer network, and communications. And the leadership coordinates the activities. We do have a board. Or maybe not a board. What's the right word I'm looking for?
Committee.
Yeah. Steering committee. Oh, it's right there on the screen. Sorry. We do have a steering committee, and we do have Lisa Bush, who is our director of SLIPP, to kind of guide everything for us. And it has again become such a big, amazing thing in the first year of its existence. It's and like I said, we have the monthly informational sessions where we check in and kind of share a little bit what's going on. And especially after big slides that happen, we try and have a call or have that community on. We've had I think he was the city planner or maybe the emergency planner for Ketchikan, who shared with us right after the Ketchikan slide and shared with us the events that happened and all the participation of the response and everything. And we try and aggregate our resources. There's so many articles and papers that have been published because of all this work. I can't even tell you how many. I think I've been part of at least 2, and there's so many more going on. And honestly, our group has gotten so big that I don't even know everything that's happening. Hard to keep track. Here's again another snapshot of the database of all the projects. And Ella put together this pretty cool map of monitoring site locator, so you can just see how many sites are being monitored in Southeast Alaska right now. It's a pretty cool website, and I think it just shows volumes of how much work is being done right now. Our observer network. So I mentioned we are currently working with 6 communities. And each community has what we call a connector. So it's their main person that we reach out to and work with that helps organize community workshops or connects us educators. I think the top is that Huna, maybe? It's all a little blurry. But each of the connectors we work with and talk with we try and do weekly basis, just kind of check in. Oh, there's our connectors. There we go. So on the top is Daniel Clonot from our Klukwan village. Going clockwise is Ruben from Skagway. Kenneth Weitzel, who is supposed to be on the call today, but who is currently in Huna. Eric Hamar, who we just visited on Prince of Wales, is on the bottom. Jess Isaacs, he is also Prince of Wales. He's in Craig. Tammy Young is Sitka. Jeremy Grant is in Huna. And unfortunately, our Yakutat contact moved to Texas. So we are waiting on them to hire someone new, but we are excited to begin work again in Yakutat. We also work with Alaska Youth Stewards. As you saw in that picture before, we had about 30 students show up in Kawak and had an amazing conversation. It was great to see the youth perspective. Here's a QR code that will take you to the Substack for SLIPP if you like to follow us on Substack. I am the leader of Substack now, and if you sign up for Substack, your email will be placed on a list and you'll get our newsletters whenever they come out. And probably information on our upcoming in-person meeting. I have included emails for most of the point contacts for our teams for Tlingit Haida, the Sitka Sound Science Center staff, and the SLIPP staff. Does anybody have any questions?
Well, thank you so much, Lindsey and Jimmy, for the presentation, and that overview was awesome. It's so great to hear about all the amazing work that you all are doing. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat or raise your hand. I just have one question to kind of kick things off while folks are maybe thinking about their questions. One thing that I would be really interested to hear a little bit more about your perspective on is just how through the Kuti project did you go about trying to balance community goals and scientific questions or scientific priorities? Like, what were some of the things that you learned or did to kind of bring those things together?
Community is like the